There's a story out that is a love letter to Mitt Romney, and it really pisses me off. Do you have it up on your computer?
Yeah, I have it on mine here.
Go ahead.
The appeal carried the unmistakable whiff of desperation.
Okay, now this is talking about Mike Lee on Tucker Carlson just a couple of days ago.
That it was delivered on live television only heightened the dramatic tension, according to the New York Times. A Utah Republican, Senator Mike Lee, was publicly begging a fellow Utah Republican, Senator Mitt Romney, for a simple act of solidarity.
Now, hang on. Do they spell begging S-H-A-M-I-N-G?
No.
No?
It's a different word.
It's a different word.
Yeah.
Huh, because I thought it was more like shaming.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
He wanted an endorsement for his campaign, one that in Mr. Lee's telling could amount to no less than an act of salvation.
Wait, what?
That would be a very strange thing if Mike Lee said that way. I'd be curious to see his wording on that. Yeah. As he battles for his political survival against an unexpectedly fierce challenger, the independent candidate Owen McMuffler. That's his new name, apparently. Yeah. Please get on board, Mr. Lee said, looking into the camera and addressing Mr. Romney by name on Tuesday night. Help me win re-election. Help us do that. You can get your entire family to donate to me. Now, that sounds like a joke.
He was shaming Mitt Romney.
Right.
He's not begging. He's shaming Mitt Romney. This is the first time I believe this has happened where a junior senator won't support the reelection of the senior senator on the same team, supposedly.
Right.
And so Romney is like, I'm friends with both of them. No, you're not. I know for a fact you're not friends with Mike Lee. Mike might say he's friends with you because Mike is much more Christian than I am. But believe me, if I were ever a friend counselor for Mike, I'd be saying, he's no friend of yours, Mike. And I think Mike is probably. So you're not friends with Mike Lee.
Right, and the way this is worded, they're saying it's an act of desperation. He says, hey, help us get elected. You can get your entire family to donate to me. Like, that's not someone who's desperate and begging. That's someone who's with a smirk on his face pointing out the absurdity of the situation.
They hate Mike Lee.
Yeah,
Let me translate. They hate the Constitution. They hate it. And Mike stands up for the Constitution every single time.
He does.
Even when he's like, it's killing me. Oh, I gotta do this. And he doesn't want to, but that's what the Constitution says.
You're right. And it goes on. Mr. Lee and Mr. Romney were, and evidently remain, antagonists in the lingering drama of January 6th, 2021? Question mark? That's my question mark. They put a period there.
So wait. So Mitt Romney was for the January 6th?
No, I don't think so. But I know Mike Lee wasn't.
Because Mike wasn't.
Yeah, Mr. Lee played.
I didn't know that about Mitt Romney. I'm surprised that Mitt was for the January 6th.
Passionate proponent of it.
Apparently. Wow.
Because Mike Lee was not. But they disagree with this analysis. They say Mr. Lee played a key role in support of President Donald Trump's attempt to subvert the 2020 election and cling to power. Mr. Romney was a stalwart opponent of it.
Makes me angry.
It's insanity.
It's not insanity. It is an out and out lie.
Yes.
I know. I talked to Mike Lee on January 6th. I talked to Mike Lee before January 6th. We talked about how this is a very dangerous situation, and there comes a time, and that time was that day. Done. You don't make the case. You don't make the case. You have to make the case, and the time to make the case was over.
Yeah, December 14th is the date in the Constitution, by the way.
Mike knew that, was not for any of this, was not trying to serve. So I can't take it.
Now, what I guess they're pointing to is these texts from Mike Lee. And I was like, I looked at these texts at the time, and as someone who also did not think January 6th was a good thing and also knew the date of December 14th.
So you disagreed with Mitt Romney?
Yeah, I guess so.
Huh, okay.
I did not have a problem with them, so I wanted to go back and look at them. Because they're saying he was a stalwart proponent of this theory. Okay.
But what theory?
that you could overturn the election. So
no.
I mean, obviously not.
He was a stalwart proponent of get to the bottom of it, but you have very little time.
Right.
And if you can make the case, make the frickin' case.
So I went back to this is the CNN article talking about it. January 3rd, Lee texted Mark Meadows saying the effort could all backfire badly. Does that sound like a stalwart proponent of a theory?
Start at the beginning.
Okay.
Go to the earliest text. It's the day after the election.
What was the election date? I don't remember. But it was November
4th or 5th.
Yeah, so this was November 7th, immediately in the aftermath of this. I think that may have been the date that they announced Biden as the winner. I can't remember. November 7th, Lee offered his unequivocal support for you, meaning the Trump administration, to exhaust every legal and constitutional remedy at your disposal to restore.
Those are pretty important words when you're talking about Mike Lee. You're talking about Nancy Pelosi.
It means nothing.
That means nothing.
Right. Mike Lee cares about the Constitution, cares about the law. So he said legal and constitutional remedy at your disposal to restore Americans' faith in our elections.
That's not saying anything pro. That's saying, what do we have to do? We should pursue it to the letter of the law to restore faith in our elections.
That is exactly how the system is set up.
That's
you have a window to
yes.
challenge these things
yes.
Within the bounds of the law.
Correct.
Now, moving on to a little bit later, let's see.
He was for Sydney.
Okay, here we go. Over a few days in November, Lee lobbied Meadows to get attorney Sidney Powell access to Trump. This is what they accuse him of. Sidney Powell this is the text that he sent. Sidney Powell is saying that she needs to get in to see the president, but she's being kept away from him. Lee wrote to Meadows on November 7th. Apparently, she has a strategy to keep things alive and put several states back in play. Can you help her get in? Now, that's not a stalwart proponent of a theory. Sidney Powell was a respected member of the legal community at this time.
Yes.
And he gets word, he doesn't even know what the theory is. He uses the word apparently. He doesn't even know what it is. But he's like, hey, she wants to get in there. Can you help? That's not...
So I had her on the air around that time, and I remember, what is the case? And she kept saying, we have this and this, and we're going to be presenting. And I said to her on the air, you have to make the case. If you have it, make the case.
Right. And we asked Sidney Powell, by the way, to her face on the air, hey, the date is coming up in December, right, where this is the end. Will you have the evidence and present it by that date? She said yes, she would. She did not have that evidence.
No.
We said the same thing to Rudy Giuliani.
Yes.
By the way. Yep. He said he would be able to provide it. He was not able to do it. We all knew the rules going in. You might not like the rules, but those were the rules. And we talked about this at the time. So now we get to the position where Sidney Powell is trying to reveal her case on this. And Mike Lee, the supposed stalwart supporter of this, sees the case and says he's, quote, worried about the Powell press conference. This is in November 19th.
That's the press conference. This is after we had her on the air. And I said, when I watched the press conference, I'm like, I don't think they have anything. They're saying the same thing they were saying a week ago. Right. I don't think they have anything.
Then Lee texted Meadows, the potential defamation liability for the president is significant here, for the campaign and for the president personally, unless Powell can back up everything she said, which I kind of doubt she can. Mark Meadows replied, I agree, very concerned. So this is they're painting Mike Lee as a supporter of this. This is November 19th. This is long before anything even close to January 6th. On December 16th, Lee goes to Meadows and asks for guidance. If you want senators to object, we need to hear from you on that, ideally getting some guidance on what arguments to raise. I think we're now past the point where we can expect anyone will do it without some direction and some strong evidentiary argument. Again, he's saying, you guys have not provided the evidence to support the objection. This is not a guy who was fighting for January 6th. And then he also said on January 3rd, Lee argued, this is to Meadows, I only know this will end badly for the president unless we have the Constitution on our side. And unless these states submit new slates of Trump electors pursuant to state law, we do not. He's saying we do not have this unless you do it somehow
to the
legally.
New York Times, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Because none of their politicians care about the Constitution. They'll talk about the Constitution. I'm a big supporter of the Constitution. And then they disregard it. With Mike Lee, it means something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I spoke to him on that day. I spoke to him on that day. He was not a supporter by any stretch of the imagination of what happened. And Mitt Romney, you and your allies are reprehensible. Reprehensible. How you can say that you are honest in all of your business dealings is beyond me, because you know this is not true. Shame on you.